Well, in this video, I'm going to show you how to choose which one of these graphs matches the function y equals 2 secant x minus pi over 3. So there are a few things you have to keep in the back of your mind to be able to do this problem. And one is that secant is the reciprocal of cosine. That's just something that you have to memorize. So when I see secant, I think to myself, that's going to be the same thing as 1 over cosine. All right, the important thing is that secant is the reciprocal of cosine. Just keep that in mind. Now, when I look at these graphs, the way we graph a secant function is by first graphing the cosine function, and then we get these little peaks and valleys that are going off of the cosine function. So let's draw the cosine function that's traveling back and forth between these peaks and valleys. So look at the bottom of each of these and look at the tops of each of these. The cosine function will do something roughly like this. All right, forgive my shaky pen. All right, but that's the idea, and it keeps going like that forever. And we'll do the same thing on this graph. So the graph will travel back and forth between these highs and lows. And we'll do the same thing on the third graph. Okay, so the next thing you have to know to be able to do this problem is you need to know what a cosine graph looks like in the first place. So here's what a cosine graph looks like. It starts off high, and then it goes low, then it comes back to high again. All right, that's the basic pattern of cosine. All right, so by contrast, let me show you the basic pattern of sine. The sine function starts low, and it goes high, and then low, and back again. So this is the basic pattern of sine theta. Okay, but secant is the reciprocal of cosine. So when I look at this little graph that I just drew, the up and down wave, I am looking for cosine. I'm looking for this pattern. So for example, let's see, I think I'll do this in green. So you see I have a nice U going right here. This would be a cosine shape. Okay, it kind of disappears a little bit. Let me try it one more time. Alright, so this is a cosine shape. And you can see that the rest of this red is another one. I mean, it's half of a cosine, but what matters is sort of where it starts. So let's see. On another graph, you can see here's a nice cosine shape right here. There's one full cosine shape right here. Okay, and on this graph, here's a nice cosine shape right here. So I think in all of these cases, so I have my green one, and then right here I have the the beginning of another one. All right, you can imagine, maybe I'll just finish it, even though it goes off the graph a little bit. You can imagine that, so I've got a green one and a red one. Okay, so I've got this green one, and then, you know, this red one would be like way off the graph. So I've got this green one, and then I've got this red one. Okay, so here's the last piece of information that you need to be able to solve this problem. You need to know what it means when you have a minus pi over 3 or something like that inside the parentheses. This is called a phase shift. And when you have minus pi over 3, that actually means that it's going to be pi over 3 to the right. Okay, if this had been a plus pi over 3, then it would be to the left. So it's kind of the opposite of what it looks like. So, normally cosine starts right at the y-axis, and it does this little U pattern. All right, but because we have this minus pi over 3, this phase shift, I'm looking for this U pattern to be shifted over to the right by pi over 3. All right, remember, pi over 3 is 1/3 of pi. So look at these graphs. Let me see if I can zoom in any more. All right, you see pi right here. This is pi. All right, right here would be half of pi. So 1/3 of pi would be a little bit less than that. So 1/3 of pi would be somewhere in this first square, like maybe, you know, right around this area. So what we're looking for is one of these U-shaped pieces that has been shifted over, and it's going to start right here. So I can already see that this graph does not have one of these U-shaped pieces that starts right here at about 1/3 of pi. So this is not the answer. Neither the green nor the red starts right here. Let's look at our next contestant. All right, again, here is pi. Here is pi over 2. 1/3 of pi would be somewhere in this area. And again, we have the green that does not start here. And neither does the red. So this is not going to be the answer. Okay, this is the last one, but look here. Here is our 1/3 pi position, right here. And look, can you see that this red U shape starts right here at pi over 3? So we've got this nice cosine shape starting at pi over 3, and that's why this one is going to be the answer. So let's zoom out and see. Alright, I have the answers hidden under this red bar, but I'm betting that it's going to be this one on the end. And see that check mark? That's why this one was the answer.